Hey guys, we've just pulled up. It's about 3 o'clock at the Warrnambool Beach Tavern. This is down here in Lake Tyers Beach. This is obviously Lake Tyers here, really pretty spot. And just out there, you've got like just a bit of a sand spit between the lake and the beach, and yeah, it looks like a really nice little spot. The tavern itself is like right here. It looks out. You've got views straight out over the beach and the lake. There's free camping out the back, which we'll show you, but there's only like, I reckon, up to 15 spots tops. So we've rocked up at 3 o'clock and it's already packed, and I took, rather than sardining in, I sort of parked on some grass right up at the end, which the owner was fine with. He's a really good guy. He came past and said g'day, checked that we're all good. So if you're going to pull in, you've got to make a quick phone call, let them know that you're here. And part of the deal, guys, at places like this, we've booked in for tomorrow night just at the pub here to have a feed and a beer. Bring the family down. We've booked a table. There's a hot shower. There's a toilet. There's a grassed area with tables and stuff like that, and it's all completely free. So you do the right thing and you spend the money at the pub, and places like this will stay open. For those of you wondering, we've just gotten back from dinner at the pub, the Lake Tyers Hotel, and we leave Peaches in the caravan. So let's see what she's doing. Bearing in mind that she is 14 odd and deaf, let's see. I wonder where this dog could be. Oh, are you having a snooze on the bottom bunk? Hey? Did you miss us? As you can tell, not worried at all. She just goes to sleep, curls up on the bottom bunk, and probably quite enjoys not being pestered by the kids. So it's working out pretty well so far. G'day, Babel. A little bit of a nothing day today, so there's not going to be much from today, but yeah, we just sort of had a real late start. It was raining this morning and all overcast. It rained all night. So we woke up out the back of the pub there at that camp spot, stripped out the caravan, all the sheets and towels and stuff. We went to the laundromat and got ourselves all cleaned and sorted. Checked out a little bit of the Town of Lakes entrance. We've actually got the hot tip off a local that was walking past, and we've come down here for lunch to Kalimna Jetty. And yeah, tell you what, look at that. I've pulled out the 270 awning, reversed the car right up. We're right up by the water, got shade, beautiful here, nice and peaceful, and we've almost got it to ourselves, save for a couple of other people. So yeah, that's really the update for today, not too much.
Wouldn't be able to see anything from a viewpoint, and then we just keep down.
But this week we are not letting anything stop us from enjoying Victoria.
The clay's caught me out and I've slid sideways and just can't get enough speed to crawl up. I've taken the boys out just to do a bit of bush bashing. I know that this doesn't really show it, but like if you see the angle of the tree there versus that, that's a pretty decent drop down there, and we've clambered all the way up. You can see slid sideways on this clay and into there, so I'm going to come back and see if I can give it a bit of bunt. James is going to be on the camera. All right. So, bit of an update. We really haven't been getting much video or anything really over the past. Magpie's going nuts. Yeah, haven't really been getting much by way of footage over the past few days. Reason for that being, or say even the past week, is that the weather's just really turned on us here in Victoria, or it had turned on us. It was cold. Like in Traralgon, it was cold to the point that I had sleet on the windscreen during the middle of the day of the cruiser. So, like, that was pretty cold. So we really didn't do much interesting. We went out for a couple of day trips, driving around, checking stuff out. But really, it was just hunkering down and staying warm. So nothing terribly interesting. So what we did is we just took a full day, got in the car, and we drove through down to Melbourne, through Melbourne, and all the way over here we're just outside Warrnambool. We're at a hip camp. I'll drop in the screenshot of the hip camp here. It's a beautiful spot, as you can see. We've got the peak of the spots. We're the only ones here. I think they take 4 or 5 groups of people at any one time. There was one person here when we arrived, but yeah, they just left the next morning, and we've got the place to ourselves. So we've come down to this beautiful little spot here in Warrnambool while the sun's out. It's the adventure playground. It's pretty close to the centre of Warrnambool. Like, town's just up over the back there. Yeah, it's on this natural lagoon. There's all sorts of stuff. There's barbecue facilities. There's little, trampolines. There's a couple of playgrounds. I'll just keep spinning because you can see multiple playgrounds. There's like a suspension bridge over there. There's footpaths that go out all through the through the lagoon and stuff like that. We've just parked over there. I don't know if you can see the cruiser over behind me. I cooked up some steak sangers for lunch. We were thinking about going to the pub, but it's just such a nice day, and for our first nice day in probably about a week. So we thought, let's make the most of it and save a bit of money too, and cook up some steak sangers out of the back of the car. So done that, cracked a beer. Kids are having a good time. Say hey, boys. And yeah, there's little, water play features and stuff like that. Yeah, so if you're looking for something to do with the kids at Warrnambool, this is definitely a good free thing to come and do. Ours have been entertained for probably about half an hour now, which is a long time for them. Well, all right, we won't shake it. Don't do that, James. Gooby doesn't like it. Hey!
Hey, buddy.
Big swan. Into this park, we found this free maze. Pretty cool. You come in there. And I found my way to the top pretty quick. The boys insisted that they wanted to go it alone. And so once you get into the middle, there's this sort of platform where you can sit and watch and provide instruction if you're feeling nice to your kids or significant other or whoever's in there. But I'm making them suffer. They're completely on their own figuring this one out. Hey boys, how you going? Alright, we'll see you at the top. Hey, what are you doing? Yeah, right. Come up to Flagstaff Hill, which is basically up the top of town. And there's a couple of, you can probably see, well, you can obviously see one right behind me. There's one further down the hill. A couple of old historic lighthouses and old historic buildings here. Off Warrnambool there, like historically, there were quite a few old shipwrecks. So called part of the shipwreck coast. From here, basically around to Cape Conran, there's shipwrecks dotted all, old shipwreck sites all on the coast. So yeah, they had quite a bit of work in trying to keep this area safe. The river comes out just over there and it creates a big sort of like sandbank. And creates a pretty dangerous spot for ships as they come across. They also had defence. So this is a rather large smooth bore cannon, and this is apparently the original teak timber frame and slider that was used for it. Pretty rare for it all to be together apparently, but back in the late 1800s, Victoria was doing pretty well as far as gold goes and becoming quite a wealthy state. So Victoria commissioned a report on their coastal vulnerabilities, and they got a few of these made up and put in certain ports, and Warrnambool was one of them. And you can imagine if you were a pirate or somebody coming to invade Victoria to take it over for its gold, that would have been a pretty intimidating sight. That definitely would have put a pretty reasonable sized hole in whatever ship you were in. So yeah, pretty cool to see some of the history around here.
Which is where Oddball lives. So we're at Stingray Bay in Warrnambool, but the island over there is Middle Island, which is the island out of Oddball. And so there's little penguins on the edge of the
this
island.
one's, we're getting a bit of zoom there. There they are, look at that. So, yeah. What sort of penguins are they called? The little penguins, I think.
Well, when I googled it, it did say fairy penguins.
Yeah.
So it could be fairy penguins. But they're very cute. And that's pretty cool that we found the island from the movie.
Yep, so we found the island from the movie, we spotted the penguins, and that's the marina just there, and sort of back over that way is Flagstaff Hill. We're only a couple of k's away, we barely moved, but quite cool to see the penguins. The water's very stained brown. There were a few people swimming, but I think that's probably a bit keen to swim in this water. But yeah, there's a boardwalk that comes up and around there. I'm not sure quite where it goes, we'll find out. But this boardwalk just goes for such a long way. It's so warm when you're out of that wind in this sun. But we found there's all these little bays and bits and pieces down through here. Low tide at the moment, but at high tide you can just imagine like swimming around, like snorkeling in between all those rocks. It'd just be so cool. So we're swapping. Zoe's up there with Peaches at the moment. We walk down into this little bay. It's beautiful actually. So I can walk out, down and into the water along this shelf, like all the way out there. There's all these little rock pools and bits and pieces and all sorts of things to check out. And I actually can't believe how warm the water is. The water's heaps warmer than what it was when we were over at Cape Conran. It was freezing over there. Like you'd dip your toes in and they'd start to sting with pain from the cold. But this is beautiful. Like if it wasn't for the breeze, so the wind's onto the beaches, we're protected down here, but if it wasn't for the breeze on the beaches, you'd be swimming around here for sure. But check this out. You got all these deep little rock pools that just are flowing in and out with the surf as it's coming in and out, and they're pocked everywhere. There's some big ones and small ones, and I've seen heaps of little fish and crabs and bits and pieces. It's a very cool little spot. Well, I'm glad that we made the most out of the couple of sunny days that we had in Warrnambool, because today the weather has turned back. It's not super bitter cold like it was over in Traralgon, but it's relatively chilly and it's just drizzly wet. We've come down to Port Fairy for the day, checking the area out. It's a nice, like, a lot of history, nice spot to check out. Nothing super exciting, but yeah, there's a couple of nice walks and you can see seals. We didn't see any, but there's lots of signs about the seals and things like that around the water. But yeah, it's quite nice along the river here. And yeah, we've just come and got some hot chips and some bits and pieces, just having lunch.
I'm on the edge of the town, but there's no dogs allowed, so I've left Tim and the kids and the dog and I made the 1.2 kilometre trek out to the lighthouse, which is just behind me. It's awful, cold, windy, wet. I was hoping to see some seals, but I haven't seen any, so I'm a bit disappointed about that, but it would be so beautiful on a nice day. Lovely it would be. But yeah, I think I might make the walk back to the car now where it's nice and warm. So this is the Tower Hill Reserve, the nature reserve. It is huge. So all around there, and even better around that side, it's all cliffs. So this all in here, this big crater is all it's an old volcano. So you can actually drive down and there's a loop that goes in around there. There's like a peak walk that goes up there. We didn't do it with the kids and we were running out of time, but there's emus and all sorts in through there too. It's a really, really cool. I'll put a photo in of the emus. But yeah, this, if you're in Warrnambool, is definitely worth coming and checking out. It's such a cool spot. And to think that, you know, for however long ago it was, that this was all a big volcanic area, and it explains all of the basalt rocks and things like that around Warrnambool. So yeah, very, very interesting spot.